Looks like the payment processor is fighting against gamers. Who else? Madam Savvy. You know, why don't we check?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, so in this video, I want to break down the brand new executive order. Madam Savvy has a beautiful thread kind of going over a multitude of different details regarding the executive order that is essentially trying to guarantee fair banking for all Americans to try to stop the debanking nonsense that we have been seeing that was started. You know, I mean, to be fair, it's been like decades this has been happening, but still mainly been in the news recently because of collective shout and all the censorship that is happening, not just to anime, manga, but also video games and artists as well. Artists' work is being censored everywhere if it's a little bit too problematic. So Madam Savvy, shout out to her. I'm going to link this thread in the description box below.
Now, what do you think of the new background? Listen, I'm still experimenting on these backgrounds so that I can give you guys full experience. And for the next one, I'm not gonna do much. I'm gonna put the background while editing. At the end of this video. So here's the thing. I'm certain some of you have heard of the executive order. Now, even though it will not affect collective shout, well, it will make their job even harder.
Now, attached are the sections that Savvy says she found to be most relevant from the executive order and the rules of Visa and Mastercard that must be removed. This thread is court cases regarding free speech, obscenity, the internet games, and more. Only some that I think show how the games from Steam and itch.io are protected speculation along with international content based on the use of the internet and not the American website.
Okay, before that, sorry, that recap, I think we've already seen it. To those of you who have seen it, and I don't want to rehash it, so I'll cut that out. You can watch the full video, link in the description. Yes, and what we have, Madam Savvy, congratulations! It says here, speculation along with international content based on the use of the internet and not American website. That is good. However, we all know these idiots, they'll try to find ways to get around this. Look, it's a start, even though it's not much for us, but hey, it's a start. One thing is that right now the UK is already bombarded Keir Starmer into oblivion because guess what? His immigration policy really pissed people off. Look, I know it's not relevant, but I have to put it in. It's going to connect at some point. All these things, not just the collective shout, payment processor, UK Online Safety Act, anti-migration or anything, all these things, they're connected.
So we're going to look at some of these screenshots here, and they're very important, so listen very closely. You have Section 3, that defines the term politicized or unlawful banking and refers to an act by a bank, savings association, credit union, or other financial services provider to directly or indirectly adversely restrict access to or adversely modify the conditions of accounts, loans, or other banking products or financial services of any customer or potential customer on the basis of the customer or potential customer political or religious beliefs, or on the basis of the customer or potential customer's lawful business activities that the financial service provider disagrees with or disfavors for political reasons. So this is sincerely calling out Visa and MasterCard for the nonsense that they did about, oh, well, you can't sell these games that might, disagree with our payment processors' terms of service, right? Their terms of service don't mean a shit thing now because they got called out specifically here. This is great. Great find, Madam Savvy.
Okay, from here. We'll stop from here. Sorry, that's an ad. There's a lot of things. Besides the point. See, here's the thing. I mean, seriously, all my viewers, have any of you have been in a place, or in this case, have got yourself fired for either political beliefs or religious beliefs? I remember a story, a police officer in America got fired because of his religious beliefs. No, generally, it happened. Don't believe me? Go check. Type in, police officer fired for his religious beliefs. You know what? Why don't we check? This is the one. This was a year ago, folks. The young Georgian cop named Jacob Kersey. Jacob Kersey. Ah, here it is. Let's see what he looks like. He got support because he says no such thing as gay marriage. He resigned, or in this case, receive a suspension. Make that make sense, folks. So tell me, if any of you have faced this kind of thing, let me know in the comments.
Now, because they got called out specifically here. This is great. Great find, Madam Savvy. Then you got Section 4, which is even better. Within 180 days of the date of this order, each appropriate federal banking regulator shall, to the greatest extent permitted by law, remove the use of supposed reputational risk or equivalent concepts that could result in politicized or unlawful debanking, as well as other considerations that can be used to engage in such debanking from their guidance documents, manuals, and other materials other than existing regulations or other materials requiring a notice and comment rulemaking used to regulate or examine financial institutions over which they have jurisdiction. The removal of such concepts shall be made clear by each appropriate federal banking regulator through formal guidance to their examiners. The federal banking regulators shall also consider rescinding or amending existing regulations consistent with applicable law to eliminate or amend any regulations that could result in politicized or unlawful debanking, and to ensure that any regulated firm or individual's reputation is considered for regulatory, supervisory, banking, or enforcement purposes solely to the extent necessary to reach a reasonable and apolitical risk-based assessment. So you guys know from what happened with Steam and itch.io, everybody knows that Visa and Mastercard, the reason why they forced this onto these platforms, aside from collective shout being, the nannies of the internet, the reason why is because according to the terms of service for Visa and Mastercard and other payment processors and banks as well, their terms of service specifically states that anybody that utilizes the mark of their bank cannot cause any kind of reputational risk, I suppose, to the bank or to the mark, right? So if the banking institution thinks that you are a reputational risk by allowing your transactions to go through without them canceling you, well, they can then cancel you, right? And that's the biggest problem with all of this. That's a huge problem, because then you can be considered problematic and then you are immediately debanked. This has happened to multiple people.
That's true. It happens to anybody. And this is the reason why, look, I bring up Jacob Kersey because it's directly connected to this, okay? How many times we've seen people got them debanked, or in this case, they were debanking for their either political beliefs, religious beliefs, whatever it is. And I'm certain some of you have faced this kind of similar situation. And if you don't know right now, besides, of course, PayPal and Adobe is now censoring people, and now Patreon is getting hit by this censorship. No, genuinely, it already happens. There's a video from Vera Dark, which I'm not going to react to this, so we'll continue forward.
To multiple creators, this has happened to multiple political people. This has happened all across the globe many times over for decades. So it's good that somebody is finally fighting against this, and specifically naming those two things that both Visa and MasterCard utilize to go after Steam and itch.io and Zoom Gaming and other platforms as well. Now, one of the best parts here is right on the bottom, because for people who are like, well, maybe they're not calling out payment processors specifically. Maybe they're calling out, the banks only, right? Well, look at this part right here. It says within 120 days of the date of this order, identifies all potential clients denied access to payment processing services provided by the financial institution or any subsidiaries through a politicized or unlawful debanking action in violation of a statutory or regulatory requirement under Section 7A of the Small Business Act, or any requirement in a standard operating procedures manual or policy notice related to a program or function of the Office of Capital Access, and provides notice to each victim advising of the denied access and the renewed option to engage in such services previously denied. So with all of this being said, the threat from the payment processors to be essentially debanked if they didn't take those specific NSFW legal games off the platform should now be reversed, and those games should come back on Steam and itch.io with no threat of debanking whatsoever, at least in the United States, right? Outside of the United States, I don't really know the laws of that, so I really don't know what goes on with that. But within the USA, this should not be a thing. And again, they specifically name payment processing services as a culprit here.
Well, that's good to know. Regardless, I don't know about the laws of other countries, okay? So I'm 100% certain many countries is going to fight back against this. I mean, even though it won't touch them, who's to say it will touch them, this kind of thing? Generally, think about it.
We have from MasterCard, right? We have a couple of screenshots. This particular screenshot is from Madam Savvy showcasing the TOS that is now not good because of this executive order. Right here, she highlights where it says the sale of a product or service, including an image, which is patently offensive and lacks serious artistic value, such as, by the way of example, and not limited to, images of non-consensual sexual behavior, exploitation of a minor, non-consensual mutilation of a personal body part, bestiality, or any other material that the corporation deems unacceptable to sell in connection with the mark. So there are some things there that are actual illegal content, right? Sexual exploitation of a minor, we know that. But the truth is that there was no games on Steam or itch.io that ever showed that, right? In terms of the whole like rape and incest and all that stuff, yeah, you may not like that, but that is legal fictional content. Until it becomes illegal to recreate those scenarios under fictional, standards, then you have no case. You have absolutely nothing. It is perfectly legal content, even though it's content you may not agree with and I may not agree with. It doesn't matter. It is perfectly legal content, and you are enacting censorship by taking down this content and essentially threatening debanking in order to get that content manually taken down by the corporation so you can wipe your hands clean, right?
And as long as that content doesn't violate the law, or in this case, break the law, it is allowed to be sold. That's very, very simple. These Karens, I'm 100%. You know what? I'm very certain these people at Collective Shout never get the attention they have when they were a kid.
You could say, well, we didn't tell them to take it down. We just said that, we can't process payments if they continue to sell it. That's not us taking it down. That's Steam taking it down. They're the ones that did it. Blame Steam. It's like they will try to gaslight you with this nonsense. But in any case, in relation to or for the purchase or trade of photographs, video imagery, computer-generated images, cartoon simulation, or any other media or activities, including but not limited to any of the following. And again, they name all of that stuff, but this is not, it is legal content. They can't do anything about it. So again, these screenshots are being shared. And then what Savvy does is she showcases multiple different cases, which is why I am going to link this in the description box below. So you guys can go check out every single case that Madam Savvy actually posted. But I'll read the first couple.
Why don't we go check, folks? Let's try check. I'm curious. Let's see if I can still access. Okay, so we already seen this. So what's the first thread? Let's see. Oh, that's a big one. Okay, let's see this. Supreme Court unanimously decide that the 1996 Comms Decency Act was unconstitutional. Content-based restriction of First Amendment. It is established speech on the internet is entitled to the same high degree of the First Amendment protection extended to print media as opposed to the reduced level given to broadcast media. The act alone allow the website to defend themselves by either good faith efforts to restrict prohibited communication to adults or age verification measures such as credit cards or ID numbers. John Paul Stevens said internet users must click on website, which means you should know what you're getting into, and parental controls are available. Wow, they knew this in 1997. Unbelievable. The Supreme Court also conducted the terms of the incident, the terms indecent, I can't even say that word, I'm so sorry folks, patently offensive in the Communication Decency Act were overboard and vague and reach far beyond the protected or far beyond unprotected speech covered by Miller versus California. Miller versus California 413 U.S. 15. Supreme Court established three-pronged obscenity tests for free speech, but it excludes legitimate artistic expression from obscenity. I'm so sorry, I'm probably butchered that name. Obscenity law protecting lewd art. The result of the ruling was that Supreme Court overturned Miller's criminal conviction and remanded the case back to the California Supreme Court for reconsideration of whether Miller had committed a misdemeanor. On overturning Miller's conviction, the court stated, under the holdings announced today, no one will be subject to prosecution for the sales or patently offensive hardcore sexual conduct specifically defined by the regulating state law as written or construed. Very few types of content can now be completely banned, and material that is appropriate for consenting adults can only be partially restricted per delivery method. I'm so sorry, it's hard for me to read this. Well, there's some things I butchered. Wow, that's a lot. So what does Madam Savvy says? So she chose this specific case to help people understand. And also I'm going to leave the link for Madam Savvy's tweet in the description as well. From Collective Shout claiming influence, Visa and Mastercard to Ofcom and being overly vague, American companies have no reason to participate in that crap. Collective Shout is going after video games like Detroit Become Human simply because it features a story with child abuse. Fictional, mind you. You are the hero in the story who saves the kid. That is not obscene. This alone completely discredit them. But here we are. And here's another thing. Patreon. See this? Patreon's getting affected. I mean, what else? Twitter broke. Some of my formatting got messed up. Very cool. You're potentially doing the most important work. Nice job, Madam Savvy. Compliments to the chef. Yeah, I was thinking of putting back that background, but I think I'll put it in post-production. It's a lot for me to cut. Okay, congratulations, Collective Shout. Thanks to your idiocy, you just unite everybody. Now everybody's going after you, and guess what? Right now, the dominoes is starting to fall, starting with UK right now. They are now facing a protest. Keir Starmer is now being called a traitor by his own people. They're protesting because immigration. Tell me something, have you heard this kind of situation before? I'm certain to my American viewers, you've seen this kind of situation. Ah yes, Biden administration. What is happening in the UK is gonna be like America when Biden was president. And I'm certain all of you who are from the US seen what happened. Even though it's a small win for us, for all gamers and other people, but let's take whatever win we can, and we do not stop, okay? We keep up the pressure. This can happen in one nation. Imagine what this kind of thing can influence other nations. We need to keep up the pressures and collective shout. Here's the message. Yippee-ki-yay, mofo.
I was getting a little nervous there. Thanks for not letting me down.
You watched my back. I wouldn't be worth spit if I didn't watch yours.
Fair enough. Let's head back to base.
Leave a like and subscribe if you want woke or anti-war detected, or you just want to see me play games, or perhaps you like trending topics. Visit my second, third, and fourth channel up here or link in the description.